So welcome everyone to the Repsol Center. Welcoming you all to our Yoga Blend class today, live virtual class, ending our week with a little bit of rejuvenation so that we can have a really wonderful weekend ahead of us. So I just want you to come down into a child's pose. And everyone's child's pose is going to look different. Maybe my knees are wide, maybe they're together. And find a comfortable position for your arms so that you can just let your body relax and melt into this pose for a couple moments here. Beautiful. So if you have the yoga block or a pillow or anything, by all means, use any props that you need. And remember, this is your class. You are taking the time to come in with me. I'm your tour guide. I'm going to give you suggestions. So listen to one's body. So once we come in, find that comfortable position where we can just let that mind and body release any chatter that we process through the week, through the day. Think of those sit bones reaching towards your heels. Take a nice deep inhalation, filling up those lungs with that beautiful fresh oxygen. And ever so slowly, expel all that air from our lungs, releasing any toxins that we've created both mentally and physically within. Taking that nice deep breath in, letting go of any expectations that we have within ourselves. And slowly exhale. So nice long inhalation, followed by a long exhalation. So take those nice deep cleansing breaths on your inhalation. As we exhale, I want you to think of drawing out any of those sticky spots in our body, allowing us to come into that comfort zone within ourselves, within our mind, within our body. Let's take 2 more full breaths here. And then ever so slowly, we're going to walk our hands in towards our knees. We're going to draw our knees together, coming into that tabletop position. Let's tuck our toes beneath us. Our gaze is downwards. From here, I want you to take that right arm. I want you to slide that right arm up nice and long. And then we slowly lower that down. And let's take that left arm. Let's reach it up. Just find the length from our fingertips and slowly lower it down. Now let's add an opposite limb. The opposite leg is reaching back. Foot is flexed, gaze is down. And then let's slowly release. Let's take the opposite arm. Really reaching it out. And then down. We're going to lift that left knee. We're going to point the toe. And I want you to take that left foot and I want you to slide it over towards that right ankle. And then we're going to sweep it over to the left. So opening up those hips. Little windshield wiper. Let's go for 3, 2, 1. Holding that foot over, feeling that stretch in that left quad. And then we will lower that down. Let's take that right foot, we're going to lift. And I just want you to windshield wiper that foot from side to side. And let's go for 3, 2, 1, and lower it back down. We're going to slide that right leg out nice and long, flexing that foot, and I want you to shift your weight forward, and then you're going to shift back. So stretching out through the glutes, through the calf, through the heel. And let's go for 3, 2, 1. Holding yourself forward, and then drawing yourself back into that neutral position. We're going to lift that right leg. We're going to sweep it over the left, lifting up to the heel, we're going to sweep it over to the right. So leading with that heel, we're going to lift and lower. Think of the upper leg journeying that hip. Release any of those sticky spots that we have. And And let's hold that leg over to the left. Drop the inside of your foot towards the floor. Kicks down that left and reaching that right arm up. Bringing yourself into a side plank. Really find the energy through those right fingertips. And I give those fingers a little wiggle. And I'm going to use that energy from our fingertips. I want you to draw them underneath that left armpit, taking your gaze over that left shoulder, and then slowly come up. Maybe adding a leg lift, and then drawing under and up. And let's go for 3, 2, 1. Holding that arm nice and tall. I want you to press that right foot to the right side of the room. We're going to drop the side of your foot coming up into our big pose. Nice and tall. We're going to reach that left arm out. We're going to lower and we're going to lift. We're going to lower and lift. So find your breath. I'm going to inhale as I reach up and over. Exhale down. And let's go for 2, 1, and we're going to sweep ourselves back into a tabletop position. Just shift those hips back, and then slowly come on the way up. We're going to take that left leg. I want you to reach it back. We're going to shift that leg forward, and we're going to shift it back. Feeling that beautiful stretch happening. And let's go for 3, 2, and holding that heel back. Really find that stretch within. And then slowly come up. We're going to lift that leg. Lift it up through that glute. We're going to sweep it over to the right. And then we're going to sweep it over to the left. We're going to sweep. And sweep. A breath with each movement. And let's have that leg reaching over the right. And let's rotate into our side plank. So draw the rib cage away from the floor. Shoulders are stacked. Maybe kickstanding that right foot. We're going to find the energy through that left finger. We're going to wiggle those fingers. And let's take that energy from the fingers and then thread underneath that right armpit, and then we slowly unwind. We're going to draw under. Stretching through that upper thoracic spine. Maybe lifting that left leg. We're going to reach and lift. Reach and lift. Maybe holding it here. Let's slowly unwind, coming back into that tabletop. Let's tuck our toes beneath us. We're going to float those knees slightly up off the mat, and then we're going to lower. Let's use that exhalation. We're going to lift. Inhale, we're going to lower. And let's go for 3, 2, 1. Holding that powder connect. Draw my knees in together. Squeeze that inner thigh. Feeling those obliques just gearing up. Open up those knees. Let's draw those hips up towards the ceiling. Lowering our heels towards the floor. Let's pedal through those feet. Walking that dog. It's a beautiful day. So get out, walk, run, or just sit and enjoy that sun today. Keeping both of those heels down. We're going to combine the balls of our feet, and we're going to ripple into that high plank. Let's draw those hips up, maybe adjusting your hands more, and then we're going to ripple into that high plank. Let's try that one more time. We're going to ripple, holding that high plank. Good. We're going to lower one knee, followed by the opposite. Let's take the tops of our feet to the floor. Let's slide ourselves back into that child's pose. We're going to tent our palms of our hands. Using that newfound energy in our fingertips, we're going to slide ourselves forward, shoulders slightly past the wrists, and then back into that child's pose. Inhale to draw forward. Exhale, really reach those hips back. And let's go for 2. 1, and holding it back. We're going to reach those hands forward. We're going to walk our hands over towards the right. Take my breath, my left rib cage. And then slowly walking back to center, and now let's walk them over to the left. You're gonna feel that right sit bone reaching towards the right hip. Taking your breath into that upper right rib cage. Now let's slowly walk our hands back. We're gonna slide ourselves back into that kneeling plank. We're gonna bend our elbows, lower ourselves down in our chaturanga. Finding that mini cobra, and then back into that child's pose. Let's flow through that for 3 times. We're gonna slide forward, lower down in our chaturanga, mini cobra, back to child's pose. So inhale forward, exhale down, inhale back. Oh, I lost count. How can you lose count on 3? And just one more here. And back. Let's slide ourselves back into our tabletop, tucking our toes beneath us. We're going to lift those hips up towards the ceiling, lower those heels. Then we're going to come high on the balls of our feet, bend those knees, get a little bit bouncy in those knees, take my gaze upwards. And then we invite you to either step or jump in between your hands. Let's lift those hips up into that half lift. We're going to forward fold. And then we're going to rise nice and tall. Bring the palms of our hands together. Bring yourself into that mini back bend. And slowly come up. Bring yourself back into a mountain pose. It's getting warm in here. It's usually really chilly, so I'm going to take this off. Standing with your legs approximately hip width apart. And before we get into a lot of our flows and things like that, I just want you to let that body just go. Just have a little bit of fun. We need to have a lot of smiles at this time of year with everything that's going on. So just let things go. And then just bring yourself into that mountain pose, lifting that chest, draw the shoulder blades to the center of your spine and down to your back pockets. Open up those hands. Really feel the energy through those fingertips. We're going to inhale, we're going to reach those arms up, palms together, a little bit of a mini back bend. We're going to forward fold. We're going to half lift that spine. As forward fold, plant your hands and either step or jump back into that high plank. From our high plank, we're going to lower down in the chaturanga. So maybe on my knees, maybe a mini cobra, maybe I'm kind of into that upright dog. Choose the back bend of your choice. And then back into that downward dog. Let's take our gaze in between our hands. Let's bend our knees, get a little bit bouncy. And then I'm going to invite you to either step or jump in between your hands. Let's half lift that spine. We're going to forward fold, and then we're going to grow nice and tall. A little bit of a mini back bend. We're going to forward fold. We're going to half lift that spine. We're going to forward fold. I want you to step or jump back into that high plank. So gaze, I'm going to just move so that you can see me a little bit more. So my gaze is downwards, and think of those shoulder blades are drawing across your upper back. You bring that belly button towards your lower back, so we don't want to be slouching. And then we're going to come back up. From here, I want you to lift your hips up towards the ceiling, coming into that downward dog. You're going to float that left leg up towards the ceiling. We're going to bend into that fire hydrant. So let's open up those hips. And then I want you to slowly draw that knee, so that knee is directly underneath my belly button. Then I'm going to draw it over towards the left elbow, and then we're going to shoot it back up. We're going to bend, we're going to draw it over to the right elbow, draw it back up. This time we're going to draw it centered, and then we're going to draw it in between our hands, and then step in between your hands, maybe helping those hands. And we're going to slowly come up into our crescent lunge position. So hips are underneath me. Be proud. We're that proud warrior today. Bringing those arms into our goddess arms. Elbows are drawn back so that we can open up through that chest. We're going to lower and expand our knees. We're going to bring our elbows into our rib cage. And then we're going to shoot them nice and tall. Inhale down. Exhale up. Good. And let's go for 3, 2, and holding it here. Give yourself that little bit of mini back extension. Chest is proud. And then coming back up. Beautiful. We're going to come into that crescent lunge. We're going to combine the back elbow, but we're going to pivot. We're going to come into that warrior two position. Fingertips are reaching away from one another. Hips are underneath us. From here, we're going to bring ourselves into our reverse warrior. So I want you to take that right hand. We're going to reach that. So it's just my rib cage is reaching away. We're going to lower that right palm, rotating the left palm up, reaching up towards the ceiling. Maybe bring yourself into that half line. And then slowly coming into that warrior two. Let's bend the front forearm. We're going to lower it onto the front back, reaching that arm up and over in our extended side angle. We're going to flow through those three. We come up into that warrior two, reverse warrior, a warrior two, extended side angle. A warrior two, reverse, a warrior two, extended side angle. We're going to flow through that one more time, and we're going to hold yourself in our extended side angle. Hold it here. I want you to take that right arm. We're going to sweep it back, follow that hand with your eyes, and then we're going to drop it forward. And then we're going to reverse. And then forward. Just opening up flat through that shoulder. And let's go for 3. 2. I want to hold in that extended side angle. Drawing yourself into that warrior two. Nice and proud for that warrior two. We're going to lift that back heel. We're going to rotate, bringing our hands on the mat. We're going to plant that right hand on the floor. I want you to reach that left arm up. Bring yourself into that runner's twist. You can always drop that back knee. And let's go for 3, 2, a 1 that's slowly unwinds. We're going to take that left foot. I want you to pop it back. We're going to bend our elbows. We're going to flow in our nasa. And coming up with the back extension of your choice, tucking the toes beneath, coming into that plank, reaching those hips back up towards the ceiling. Beautiful. We're going to bend those knees, get a little bit bouncy. Take my knees in between my hands. We're going to either step or jump in between those hands. Let's half lift that torso. We're going to forward fold, and then I want you to roll. Nice. And tall. Beautiful. We'll do that on the opposite side. So inhale, we're going to reach those arms up. Exhale, we're going to forward fold. Inhale, we're going to half lift that spine. Exhale, plant those hands as we step or jump back into that high plank. From our high plank, let's bend those elbows. Let's lower down. Coming into the back extension of our choice. But from here, I want you to lift those knees and we're going to come into that plank. We're going to hold that plank. From here, we're going to bring that plank into a mountain climber. And a little bit more juice into our flow. We're going to take that left knee, we're going to draw it in towards the left elbow and step back. Over to the right and back. And you can do this from your knees. And one more time per side. Let's float ourselves up into that downward dog. We're going to take that right leg down. Really find the energy from your heel, squaring those hips to our mat. We're going to bend, and then we're going to bring that right heel over towards the right hip. Little fire hydrant. Opening up those hips. One more full breath. And you're going to draw that knee down. I want you to take that right knee, we're going to draw it over towards the left elbow. We're going to pop it back up. Let's draw it over towards the right elbow. We're going to pop it back up. We're going to bend that leg, draw it in between your belly button and your rib. And from here, I want you to step that foot in between hands, maybe helping that hand. We're slowly coming up into our crescent lunge. Try and square those hips to the top of your mat. Reach the energy through your fingertips. We're going to draw those arms into our bodies. Elbows are drawn back, chest is proud. We're going to lower our hips. As I lower my hips, I'm going to draw my elbows into my rib cage. Slowly come up, reaching those arms up nice and high. We're going to lower. And lift. Now, if your knees or hips say, yeah, it's not the thing for me today, just hold that lunge. And let's go for 3, 2, 1. Holding that crescent lunge. Maybe add a little bit of back extension. Chest is lifting towards the ceiling. And let's bring yourself up. Breathe high on the back forward foot. We're going to pivot, bring yourself into that warrior 2. So think of that nice long stance. Hips are underneath me. Shoulders are on the same line. Beautiful. From here, we're going to bring that into that reverse warrior. So I want you to take that left hand, we're going to reach back over the palm, rotate the front palm up, and over maintaining that warrior 2 stance, coming back into that warrior 2, and then we're going to come into that extended side angle. We're going to flow through those 3. Warrior 2, reverse warrior, warrior 2, extended side angle. Let's flow through that one more time, and we're going to end up in our extended side angle. I'll reach that arm up and over, taking my gaze to my thumb, and then we're going to sweep that arm back. It's going to come forward, and then we're going to reverse. Opening up through that shoulder. And let's do that one more time through. Holding it here. Let's pop ourselves up into that warrior 2. Lifting up the back heel. We're going to rotate front. Planting our hands on either side of that right foot. Planting that left palm. Reaching that right arm up into our runner's twist. So think of that right hip is reaching back as the right shins are trying to draw forward. And then we're slowly release. We're going to pop that right leg back. We're going to lower ourselves down. All the way, take your time. It's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's take the tops of our feet. And let's lower them onto our mat. We're going to reach those arms towards our heels, so palms are facing my thighs. Gaze is downwards. We need to draw those shoulder blades to the center of your spine. Reaching your fingertips towards your heels. We're going to lift that chest up off the floor. And I want you to lifting your knees slightly. We're going to engage through the quads, and then we're going to lift those quads up off the floor. Try and relax your glutes. It's kind of hard in this position. So for 3, 2, 1, we're going to lower ourselves down. Let's slide our palms underneath our shoulders, and then to the outside of our mats, we're going to lift those elbows up. We're going to tamp those fingers. We're going to slide that chest to the top of your mat, lifting the chest slightly. Bring yourself into a king cobra. And as you through those fingertips, helping to draw the chest up. Let's have a little bit of shoulder stretch. We're going to take that left elbow, lowering it down, and take my gaze over that right shoulder. Let's look at 3, 2, 1. Let's slowly unwind. Dropping that right shoulder towards the mat, taking my gaze over the left shoulder. Let's go for 3, 2, 1. Back to center. Let's slide the palms of our hands back underneath our shoulders. Elbows are tucked in. Let's tuck our toes beneath us. And we're going to slowly draw ourselves up into that plank position or kneeling plank. Let's draw our hips up towards the ceiling. Pedaling through those feet for 4, 3, 2, 1. Lowering those heels, bend those knees slightly, take my gaze in between my hands. And let's slowly step or jump in between those hands. We're going to half lift that torso. We're going to forward fold. While we're in this forward fold, I'm going to bend my knees slightly. And I want you to take that left hand and just place it directly underneath your face. You're going to bend that left knee, and I want you to reach that right arm up. Forward fold, standing twist. Take my gaze upwards. Feel that stretch in that right glute. Reach that sit bone up towards the ceiling and then slowly unwind. Do that on the other side. Right hand underneath my face. I'm going to bend that right leg. Reaching that right arm up. Taking my gaze upwards. And let's slowly unwind. From here, I want you to tuck the tailbone under. We're slowly reset that spine. One vertebra at a time. Until we're in that upright position. Nice and slow. As if those shoulders give them a little roll. We're going to inhale, we're going to reach those arms. Close my hands together. A little bit of a mini back bend. Bring a forward fold. We're going to half lift that spine. Let's hold that half lift. Think of that, kind of that L shape. Sit bones are reaching to the back of the mat as my primary head is reaching forward. Think of that core engaged. Really, really important. Arms are hanging, maybe drawing circles with your knuckles, top of that mat, opposite direction. And just letting those arms hang. You're going to reach those arms out into a T, spreading those shoulder blades across my upper back. And really find that energy. Let's go for 3, 2, 1. We're going to bend the knees, lower those hips, reach those arms up, bring ourselves into our chair position. Let's bring our palms by hands together, thumbs to heart center. Keep those elbows high. We're going to lift an inch, we're going to lower an inch. We're going to lift an inch, lower an inch. Let's go for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Holding it here. I want you to lift that right heel. Can we lift an inch, lower an inch, lift an inch, lower an inch? Let's go for 4, 3, 2, 1. Holding it here. I want you to lift that right foot up off the floor, finding the balance within. Lift a tiny bit higher. We're going to step to the back of our mat, reaching those arms up into our crescent lunge. From here, I want you to lift that back heel. We're going to pivot coming into our warrior 2. We're going to lift the back heel, sweep those arms back up into our crescent lunge. We're going to take that right arm, we're going to sweep as I pivot into that warrior 2 and back into that crescent lunge. Beautiful opening through our hips. And let's go for 3, 2, 1. Holding that warrior 2. We're going to slowly come back into that crescent lunge. I want you to hinge from the hips. We're going to rotate our palms to the side of the room. We're going to draw those arms back. I want you to lift up through the chest and come forward. Let's think of doing the breaststroke. As you're coming back, reach the shoulder blades to the center of your spine, proud through that chest. And let's go through 3, 2, 1. We're going to hold those arms back, interlocking your fingers behind your lower back. Draw the shoulder blades to the center of your spine. And you slowly hinge from the hips, drawing that left shoulder towards our left thigh. Relaxing that head. Let's draw those hands slightly out towards the ceiling. Left sit bone is reaching back. Strength through that left leg. Let's go for 3, 2, 1. Let's release those hands. You're going to frame that left foot. I want you to drop that right knee. Take the right foot top to the floor. We're going to shift our hips back. Adjust that left leg slightly, coming into our half split. Think of flexing that left toe towards the shin. And just shift yourself forward. Maybe blocks on either side of your hands, give you a little bit more height. And then slowly shifting back. Inhale forward. And every exhalation, as we reach back, maybe I can reach back a tiny bit farther. Only go to your own depth. And we've got 3, One more full breath. Slowly slide yourself back. We're gonna tuck our right toes underneath, lift that right knee, planting our hands. We're gonna step that left leg back. And we're going to bring yourself into our plank position, just holding that plank. I'm going to take that right foot, I want you to reach it up to the side, and then we slide it back in. We take the left, we're going to reach it up to the side, slide it back in. So inhale, you reach, and use that exhalation to draw it back. And just one more time per side. Beautiful. Let's bend those elbows, so coming down on your knees or staying on your toes. Let's lower down for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back bend of your choice. We're all going to join up and down your dog. Pedaling through those feet. Let's go for 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower those heels. Let's come behind the balls of our feet. Bend our knees. Take your gaze in between our hands. I'm going to invite you to either step or jump in between your hands. Let's half lift that spine. We're going to forward fold, and we're going to grow nice and tall. Palms of our hands together, a little bit of a mini back bend. I'm going to dive up and over those thighs, coming into that half lift. Holding that half lift here, we're going to draw those arms out into a T. You can bend an airplane. A slight bend in those knees. Feel the shoulder blades drawn across. Keep that core connected. Bending those knees slightly. Lower those hips, sweeping those arms up into a chair position. Bring the palms of our hands together. And we press them. Find the energy in your shoulders as you press. Thumbs heart center, keeping those elbows high. We're going to lift an inch, we're going to lower an inch. Lift an inch, lower an inch. Let's go for 4, 3, 2, 1. Holding it here, we lift the left heel. A little pulse here. Lift an inch, lower an inch. Lift an inch, lower an inch. Finding the energy in that right quad. Holding it down. We're going to float that left knee up. So just find that balance within. Lift that left knee a tiny bit higher. We're going to step into the back of our mat, bringing ourselves into our Crescent Lunge. We're going to flow between our Crescent Lunge and our Warrior 2. So let's come high on the back ball, but pivot coming into that Warrior 2. Lift up that back heel, pivot into that Crescent Lunge. And you're just going to feel some mobility happening in that hip. And let's go for 3, 2, 1. Let's hold that Warrior 2. Be really proud here. Try and draw those hips so that they're on the same plane. And let's take yourself back into that Crescent Lunge. From here, I'm going to hinge from the hips. We're going to rotate our palms to the side of the room. Then I want you to draw it back. So think of, do the breaststroke in the pool. Then inhale forward, and use that exhalation. We're going to ground through that right sole of the foot as I reach those hands back. And let's go for 3, 2, 1. Holding his hands back, interlocking them behind your lower back. Reach them down towards the floor. Shoulder blades are drawn together. And we're going to hinge from the hips. We're going to lower that right shoulder to the right thigh. Bring ourselves into that humble warrior. Finding that strength in that right leg. That right glute, just trying to reach back. Let's go for 3, 2, 1. Let's lower those hands. We're going to frame them on either side of that right foot. I want you to drop that left knee to the top of your foot to the floor. And then we shift our hips back. Drawing that toe towards the ceiling. And then slowly come forward. Blocks can be on either side. Resting your hands on those blocks. Inhale forward. Exhale, we're drawing those hips back. And let's go for 3, 2, 1. Holding it here. You can join those toes towards our shins. Feeling a beautiful stretch in the back sides of that right leg. And then slowly shifting yourself forward. Let's tuck that left toes beneath us, planting our hands, lifting that back knee up. We're going to slide that right leg back, bring yourself into a plank position. So while we're in this plank position, I want you to think what's happening within your core. As that lower corset wrapped around my lower abdominals, on my shoulder blades drawn away from one another. Maybe I'm on my knees. Let's go for 3, 2, 1. Let's lift those hips up into that downward dog. Let's take your knees in between our hands. And we're going to use the energy from my knees to either step or jump in between our hands. We're going to come into that half lift. Let's forward fold and then release. And beautiful. So before we come down on the floor, we've got one quick little flow to do. So we inhale, we reach the arms up. We're going to exhale, going forward fold. Inhale, we half of that spine. We're going to exhale, we're going to plant our hands, bend our knees, and step or jump back into that high plank. From our high plank, we're going to draw those hips up towards the ceiling. Let's float that left leg up. Flexing that foot, we're going to lower that leg, and we're going to lift. We're going to lower, and let's go for 3, 2, 1. Holding it there. We're high on the right ball of our foot. We're going to lower that left leg, and we're going to cross our ankles. We're going to lower that left heel. We're going to slowly walk our hands towards those feet. And just hanging. Can you still see me? There we go. Just hanging here. Maybe taking opposite elbows with opposite palms. Stretching out through those glutes. Maybe adding a little sway, adding a little bit of balance. And then just letting those hands go. We're going to walk our hands out towards the right. Taking our gaze over that right shoulder. Now slowly walking those hands back to center, up towards the left. Coming back to center. We're going to tuck the tailbone under. We're going to slowly reset that spine up against that imaginary wall. Let's reach those arms up. I'm going to move a little bit closer so you can see. We're going to take that right arm. I want you to reach it down. Left arm's going to reach up and over. And then slowly come back. Take that left arm down. Right arm is coming up and over. Ooh, a balance challenge. And let's just flow through that. Let's think of that flower just blowing in the wind, side to side. Holding those arms down, let's roll the shoulders back. We're going to nod our chin towards our chest. I want you to slowly roll yourself down one vertebra at a time. Hanging here. And then slowly walking your hands out in front. You're going to be lifting up those heels. We're going to pop that left leg back up. We're going to lower that foot. Now I want you to draw that right leg up. Flexing that foot. We're going to lower the leg and we're going to lift. As you lift, think of squeezing that right glute to help lift that leg a tiny bit higher. And let's go for 3, 2, 1. Holding that leg up nice and high. We're going to lower that leg and it's going to cross over that left ankle. We're going to start lowering our heels towards the floor as I walk my hands towards my feet. Hanging here. Taking opposite elbows with opposite palms. Adding a little sway. We're going to release those hands. Let's tuck the tailbone under. We're slowly restack that spine 1 foot at a time until we're in the upright position. Let's reach those arms out into you this time. Energy reaching through those fingertips, shoulder blades are drawn together. We're going to draw those hands together. As I draw them in, I want you to draw your belly button in towards your spine. I'm rounding up through your lower back. And then we're going to open. Inhale. Exhale. So a little standing cat-cow. And let's go for 3, 2, 1. Holding those arms out. Chest is lifted, reaching that chest up towards the ceiling. Bring that body upright. Let's lower those arms. We're going to nod our chin towards our chest. We're going to slowly roll yourself down, 1 breath at a time. We didn't walk our hands to either side. So I want you to walk your hands over towards the right. And then slowly walking them over towards the left. We want to be even. We don't want to walk up here unbalanced. And then coming back to center, we're going to slowly start walking our hands out in front of us. Those heels will lift. We're going to pop that right leg up. We're going to lower that foot towards the floor. We're just going to do one last flow. So adjust that downward dog. We're going to draw our shoulders slightly in front of our wrist. From my knees to from my toes, we're going to lower ourselves down nice and slow. Tops of our feet to the floor, upright dog or mini cobra. Tuck our toes beneath us. Let's come back into that plank. We're going to lift those hips up into a downward dog. But I want you to hold that downward dog. We're going to slowly come back into that high plank, dropping one knee, followed by the opposite. We're going to walk our hands towards those knees, and I want you to press yourself up into a high kneeling position. So think of those hips are pressed slightly forward, tailbone tucked underneath us. We're going to lift those shoulders, roll them back. We're going to reach those arms out into a T. We're going to hinge from the hips. So think of someone pressing through the chest. We're going to reach those arms up. And then we're going to sweep those arms forward. So inhale back. And exhale forward. Stretching through the frontal planes of that torso. And let's go for 2. 1, can we hold that extension? And then slowly come forward. Let's lower one hip towards the floor, followed by the opposite. Let's move a little bit of luggage around. Just wiggle yourself around. Coming up nice and tall. Beautiful. We're going to reach the arms up to the side. We're going to hinge from the hips. We're going to lift one foot. Can we lift the opposite? Bring yourself into our boat pose. Let's bring those knees in. I'm going to hug those knees in. And then I'm going to extend them out as I hinge from the hips. Inhale in. Exhale, reaching away. And let's go for 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's hold that bow pose. Maybe my heels come down towards the mat. Maybe they're lifted. Think of that core so it's wrapped around. We lower one foot, followed by the opposite. We're slowly come up nice and tall. We're going to place our hands on either side of our hips. Fingertips are pointing towards my derriere. Roll the shoulders and now block my feet so they're about as wide as my mat. I'm going to lean back, bending those elbows. I'm not going to reach to wipe those knees from side to side. And let's go for 3, 2, and 1. Bring those knees back. We're going to walk them so that they're about hip width apart. I'm going to come down to one forearm. Follow with the opposite. Draw the shoulder blades back. We're going to bring those legs into that tabletop position. Flexing those feet. We're still press those feet away. Inhale back. So think of pushing through a tub of molasses. Just as proud. And let's go for 3, 2, 1, holding it there. Let's ever so slowly lower those legs. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's lower that upper torso towards the mat. And just let that body shimmy on the mat beneath you. Then we're going to slide the soles of our feet towards our sit bones. And when we reach your fingertips towards your heels, can we maybe tickle our heels or get there close enough? I want you to press through the soles of your feet, and we're going to float those hips up into our tabletop. So I'm going to roll my shoulders underneath me, maybe clasping my hands and reach them towards my heel. I'm going to float that right leg up. Reaching that foot, I want you to tap your ankle on that left thigh, and we're going to reach up. We're going to tap and reach. Keeping those hips square towards the ceiling. And let's go for 3, 2, 1. Crossing that ankle across that left thigh, dropping that right knee towards the floor. Let's release those hands. Lower that spine. We're going to take our hands, place it in between the inside and outside of that left thigh. We're going to pop that left leg up as draw that right knee away from us, bring us into that figure 4 stretch position. So for 3, 2, 1, we're going to lower that left foot. Now we're going to slide that right calf along that left thigh. So I'm in that kind of gentleman sitting position. Arms are out in the T. I want you to take that left hand to the outside of that left right knee, and we just lower that knee towards the floor, take my gaze over that right shoulder. Trying to keep those shoulders intact to the mat beneath you. So for 3, 2, 1, let's release that right leg. We're going to slowly come back up. Let's untangle those legs. Reaching those hands towards our heels, maybe adjusting our feet. Let's lift those hips up towards the ceiling. Rolling the shoulders underneath you if that's available to you. Interlocking your hands, drawing those hands towards your feet. Let's float that left leg up. Keeping those hips square, we're going to cross that ankle and we're going to lift. We're going to cross and lift. Let's go for 3, 2, 1. Let's keep that cross. Let's release those hands, lower that spine, taking our hands in between the inside and outside of that right leg. Let's pop that right foot up off the floor. Let's draw that right leg towards our chest, left knee away. Let's go for 3, 2, 1. Let's lower that foot. We're going to slide that right calf outside of that right thigh, hands in the T. We're going to take that right hand across and root this on the outside of the left knee. I want you to lower that knee up to the side, taking my gaze over that left shoulder. I'm going to keep those shoulders intact to the mat beneath you. And then slowly unwind, popping that leg down. Let's draw those legs into that tabletop. I don't want you to compress that lower back in towards the mat. Think of a little tiny ant trying to crawl underneath. We want to maintain that natural curvature of our spine. We're going to bring our knees into the chest. Give yourself that well-deserved hug. And bring your knees in towards your armpits. And then just giving yourself a little rock from side to side. And now releasing those knees, sliding those legs up nice and long on your mat. Let's reach those arms up overhead in that morning stretch. Reach those ribs away from your hips. Let's sweep our arms like snow angels down by our sides. And just let those arms relaxing, palms towards the ceiling. One palm on belly, one palm on heart. Letting those feet just lay to the side. Let's close our eyes. And just start letting that breath absorb what we've just created in the last 15 minutes. Bringing gratitude to oneself, gratitude, allowing you to take this time for yourself. Letting that breath unclutter anything that's sticky, either spiritually or physically within. Let's take a few moments here. Start deepening one's breath. That nice inhalation. Slowly sighing that air out of our lungs. Couple more deep breaths like this. Using those deep breaths to bring awareness back. Letting that body move gently on top of the mat beneath you. Slowly rolling either to your right side or to your left, yin or yang. Bring yourself into that fetal position, allowing that heart to wake up gently. You don't want any surprises. Then ever so slowly pressing yourself up into a comfortable sitting position. Wherever you are, maybe my legs across, maybe they're in a diamond, but find that length of your spine. Tailbone slightly tucked under. We're going to be we tend to slouch over quite a bit lately over our computers. Just grow tall. Reaching those arms out into a T, shoulder blades are drawn back. Let's reach those arms up, palms of our hands together, that star, thumbs to heart center. I want to thank you all for allowing me to be part of your practices today. And maybe it's tomorrow you can practice. But I want you all to make here today with a little bit of extra spunk in your step and in your soul. May the light within me enlighten the light